Minasan, konnichi, what's up? Today I am going to begin a grammar of sort of like a sentence structure to when you're trying to compare between two things. So this is the prompt that you will see during the free response test segment for your AP Japanese exam. This is one of the, I forget which year, but this was an actual prompt used in the past year, one of the past years, and in which you are, this is always the same. The setting is always the same. You're going to write an article, pretending to be, and you're writing for your sister school for their newspaper, student newspaper, and you are writing article about two things about American high school students' perspective. So it has nothing to do with Japanese culture, and it's a lot to do with American high school students' activities or behaviors. So this one is just for example, reading something on a screen, digital reading, versus reading something on paper, like paperback or like any kind of a printed material. So these are the things that you need to do. And then as a more detailed instruction is you have to say at least three aspects of each and at least three aspects of each, and then highlight the similarity and differences. So it's not like three differences and three similarities. It could be just three aspects, but it could be one difference, two similarities. It's really, this part is very vague, but the better approach is like try your best to write three things, three differences and three similarities. But in order to do that, you need to be able to compare two things or two items or two actions. So let's just start with this part. We call that a hikaku kei. This is a very difficult kanji. Kei represents form. And these are kind of like a comparative English adjective. Big. Yeah. So to say a big robot is big robot. There is a big robot. And if there's even a bigger robot than the big robot, you would just put bigger. Remember the conjugation of adjective? And there may be numerous, multiple big robots. And out of the several robots, you would have to describe, oh, this is the biggest. So that English one, when you're trying to compare, the adjective form changes, right? Just kind of keep that in mind when we are trying to hikaku, comparison. Or the other easier one to say to compare is to kurabemasu. This is a masu form, kuraberu. So I'm going to instruct you to sort of like decide on the opening statement. I'm going to start comparing the three different robots and stuff like that. Like, これから from now on, これから means this going forward. ロボット、3つのロボットを比べます。That's a simplest thing. Or 比べようと思います。I think I'm going to compare. And that's the statement that I highly recommend that you sort of like choose to remember it, memorize it. So, like I said, when you're trying to compare in eigo pattern, you would just say this something is bigger than the other stuff. Right? So bigger, from big to bigger. In Nihongo, and then the third, or among so many different group of stuffs, then you go biggest. Remember, big, bigger, biggest. However, 日本語、これはそれより大きいです。So this thing is bigger, bigger than that thing. Notice 大きい is not changing. Let's say there are some pastries that you're looking at. Oh, this donut is bigger than the other one, that this cookie is bigger than the, whatever. There's so many ways to say, but this one is you're trying to pick, I want the biggest cookie or the pastry. So この中で among this thing, this これが一番 number one 大きいです。Notice 大きい did not change like the English equivalents, right? Even more so. So choice の中で the choice the most 一番小さいです。一番大きいです。So you just add the most as an 一番。The stuff is bigger than the stuff is bigger than stuff. I'm going to give you another one. これの方がそれより大きいです。So we did the comparison one. This kanji, there are two ways to read. Remember, if you know kata, like sometimes to say method, or as a keigo to indicate someone, こちらの方, that person. But this kanji, in this comparison thing, you read it as ほ. So make sure you know that これの方がそれより大きいです。より is more like than. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Simpler one, more casual form, こっちの方がそっちより大きいです。Even more so, you don't have to put 方がこれはそれより大きいです。That is the simplest way. So to compare among the pastries. この中でこれが一番大きいです。この中で or you don't even have to put この中でこれが一番大きいです。You already know there are multiple choices. That's how you do it. So make sure you pause the video and just kind of try to mind, practice. Now, there's a cat and he or he has two arms extending. Let's try to compare a few things like these. So, 赤と青. The adjective that I put is 好き、おいしい、面白い、かわいい depending on the item. 赤と青。どっちが好きですか？赤より青の方が好きです。or 赤の方が好きです。青の方が好きです。That's all you need to say. コーヒーと抹茶とどっちが好きですか？美味しいですか？抹茶の方が美味しいです。So 抹茶 is the one that is better tasting. or コーヒーより抹茶の方が美味しいです。compared to coffee, so 抹茶 is tastier than coffee. or コーヒーの方が抹茶より美味しいです。So you need to kind of digest this. の方がより。If you put の方が, it's the one that you're putting 面白い more interesting. Star Wars と Star Trek どっちの方が面白いと思いますか？面白いですか？ Star Wars の方が面白いです。or Star Wars より Star Trek の方が面白いです。or you don't even have to put, if you put Star Wars より Star Trek, well, I mean, if you put the より, I guess you should put that, の方が面白いです。の方 is like the choice. Yeah, so you made the choice, whether it's Star Trek or Star Wars, you would have to put の方が when you are picking that 面白い choice. So 犬と猫、どっちが可愛いですか？犬より猫の方が可愛いと思います。or 猫より犬の方が可愛いと思います。or you don't even have to put より you can just say 犬の方が可愛いと思います。So that's how you do that simplest comparison. I just put two choices part, and in part two, I'm going to explain a little bit more detailed grammar. さよなら。